Right. So, first of all, let's go through the unit 9 and 10, just a summary. So, in the ninth unit, you are introduced with three main systems of the body, right? That would be excretory system, and then the nervous system, and under that, you also learned about the skin, right? Separately, not under that. So when we talk about the kidneys, the excretory system, right? What do we have to know? So you have to memorize this table 9.1. Memorize in the sense you should be able to tell if they ask you in the exams what are the excretory products of the kidneys. You must know that it is urea, uric acid, salts, and water. You can't be, there's no other way that you can write it, Niputa, right? You must know that. So that's why this is a very nice chart given in your textbook that must be memorized. Okay. So lungs, carbon dioxide and water. You know, when we breathe out, we are going to release the carbon dioxide that is built up in our body. Then then what is this one now? These are the excretory products, right? Then what are these? These are the way that they are excreted out of our body. Now, when we talk about skin, what can you see outside? You can see sweat that is coming out of the skin. So, what does this sweat contain? These things. That's going to be little amount of urea, uric acid, salt, and water. So, this chart is something that you must memorize. Then, regarding the kidneys, right, you are going to learn under the urinary system. So, you have two kidneys, right, left and the right. Okay. So, they are supplied blood through what, Puta? What is taking in blood to the kidney, right? You call them as what? Renal artery. Renal artery. Okay. So that brings blood into the kidneys, both the sides, and then it filters the blood. That is the job of the kidneys. And then what happens, Puta? The blood is taken away from it, right? So that is connected. Uh, that is done by the renal vein. The blood is taken out of the kidneys by the renal veins, and then that is connected to the inferior vena cava. If this picture is not clear, I'll just draw a rough sketch. Aorta brings the blood in, right? මේව දැන් මතක තියෙන්න ඕනේ, right? So whatever I'm discussing in this, they can ask you for the exams, right? So just remember this. Aorta brings the blood, then it divides into two as what, Puta? Renal arteries supplies blood to the kidneys. These are called as artery. Artery. Renal means kidneys. The word renal is used for kidneys, renal artery. Then the blood is supplied to the kidneys, right? And they are going to filter your blood. And then let me change the color. And then the kidney is going to give away the blood, okay? The remaining blood, okay? So that is going to be given out from the renal vein and then taken back to the heart to pump it. Uh, so you know the circulatory system, ne? So you will be learning all of it in the higher grades. So just remember that particular vessel that is taking the blood away from the kidneys is called as the inferior vena cava, right? That also takes blood from the other organs as well. Okay, right. So that is something for you to remember. And then now what is this one that is coming out of the kidneys like this two tubes like that? So that is the urine. මෙහෙමනේ පුතා. දැන් අපි filter කරනකොට when we are filtering something, right? What happens now? You have let's tell that you are pouring something and maybe tea. Okay, you're pouring tea, and then you have the tea residues that are getting accumulated on the strainer, right? Okay, the as the filtrate. So that is the urine. Does that make sense? So the blood comes in through the arteries, and then the other blood is again taken back to the body. And then what is the residue, that like the tea, the whatever the bad stuff, that is going to get out of the body through the what do we call this, ureters, and then they are going to get filled up in the bladder, and once it reaches its capacity, then we will feel the urge to pass urine through the urethra. Okay, so that is the simple system of our urinary system. Then when we talk about the inside, you have two major parts, cortex and medulla. Okay, and you must again memorize this. Just remember this, okay? The percentages. Most of the content of our urine is water, right? So our blood also has lots of water, right? So excess amount of water is released, and then urea, salts, and uric acids are also released out. Then we have to learn about some of the diseases related to kidney, right? Kidney stones, kidney failure, kidney infections, right? And most of the problems arise when we are not passing urine at the proper time, and if we are not drinking water, then only the problem arises with the kidneys. And also taking too much of salt diets, right? Salty diets. Okay, the next one, the next main part of your of this particular lesson is the nervous system, right? The nervous system. So what do you know about the nervous system, Puta? In my short note, I had given you all a nice chart. So let me share my paint screen and just quickly jot it down for you all. You must remember this in your head, okay? It's a must. If you want to pass the exams very well, the upcoming exam, you must know when we talk about the human nervous system. I'm just going to roughly sketch it, okay? It is divided into how many parts? Two parts. So what are they called as? They are going to be your central nervous system, CNS, central nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system. So when we talk about central, you can understand from the word itself, right? Central, the brain, the cerebrum, cerebellum, cerebrum, medulla oblongata, and then the spinal cord, right? Whatever is coming out of it, Nedaputa, whatever is coming out of it, we call it the peripheral. Okay. So if I were to color code it, the black would be CNS, right? And then whatever I'm going to, what do we tell? Draw it from green, that is going to be your peripheral nervous system. So these things. Does this make sense? Sarah, can you remember what we learned?
Yes, miss.
Right. Okay. So the central nervous system, as I told you, how many parts does it have, Puta? It has just two, the brain and the
Spinal.
spinal cord, right? The brain and the spinal cord. The brain, of course, Puta, you can divide it into, again, how many parts? Three, no? That is going to be cerebrum, cerebellum,
Cerebellum, medulla oblongata.
oblongata. Then peripheral nervous system, Puta. How many can we divide it? Peripheral nervous system. It's divided into two, no? Cranial.
Spinal.
Cranial. The word cranial is for the brain, right? Whatever the nerves that is coming out of your brain, cranial. And then comes the spinal. spinal. Okay, right. So cranial, how many do we have, Putta? The nerves, how many nerves do we have? That is going to be 12, right? That's going to be 12. So I want to share my textbook also, so that way you can see the place where it is mentioned. So on this page, right, you can see the peripheral nervous system. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves, 31 pairs of spinal nerves. When they mention some numbers in your book, Putta, make sure that you know about it. Okay, they can ask questions on that. 12 pairs. Spinal, you have how many? 31 pairs, right? 31 pairs. Okay, so this is the summary of your nervous system. Okay, right. So this must be in your head. You must remember these parts. And then, of course, you have to learn something extra, that is about the meninges in your brain. There is a special layer of connective tissue called the meninges that is very important. What does it do? The meninges, this particular connective tissue, is filled with a special fluid called the cerebrospinal fluid, right? Cerebrospinal fluid, shortly we call it as the CSF. So what do we do with this? Why is this important? It is the one that is going to absorb the shocks, supply nutrients, and also prevent the CNS from microbial infections. And of course, Putta, you might have heard, if somebody is having any brain problems, or something wrong with the newborn babies, or to check if they have any microbes, microorganisms that might have entered their brain, how would they check? They would actually take some of these fluids and then check it in the laboratory if it is really infected, or what is it, or you can check the amount of ions and everything, right? You can check the if anything is wrong with the brain. First of all, they might have to look at the fluid if things are okay, right? So that is about that. And then, of course, Putta, you must know the functions. So let me go to this. So what I wanted to show you all the functions, Putta, මෙහෙම බලද්දි ටිකක් ලොකුයි, like you have to do, I have to memorize all of this is like overwhelming. But remember, okay, when you look at the brain, this part is the one that is to do with sensing, and especially this part, the frontal part, is the one that is doing higher functions, intelligence, right? Thinking, critical thinking, analysis, and everything is done by this part. We call it the what? Cerebrum. Then comes the smaller tiny part, the cinnamolar, right? The cerebellum. What is it doing? It is, if you go to your textbook, you can say regulation and coordination of the body. How do you know that you're staying straight? If you tilt your head, right? So coordination, right? Everything, coordination and regulation is done by the cerebellum. Then comes the small tiny part under that over here. Can you see this tiny spinal cord beginning area? We call it the medulla oblongata, which is crucial for what? For involuntary action, especially to maintain your heart rate and breathing, right? Breathing and heart rate. If you see this function, you can see we call it the autonomic functions, non-voluntary functions. These are things that you can't control. Heartbeat and breathing, you can't control, right? You can't tell your heart to beat fast now and it will start beating fast. No, that doesn't work like that, right? When you get scared or when you are excited, you could feel your heart pumping, right? So that's something autonomic. You can't control it. Okay, so who is controlling it? That is medulla oblongata. Then comes the spine. So that is basically it sends messages from the brain to the different parts of the body. It's the tail of the brain. The spinal cord is like the tail of the brain, right? And then Putta, again, they have told you about protective measures. Meva chuttak bala ganna, right? For your exams, okay? Right. And then the skin, after that, I'll be going straight to the questions, okay? Right. So the skin putta, all you have to know is that the functions is very important in skin. Okay. So before that, you have two layers, epidermis and dermis. Can you see the top part? Right. This is the epidermis, and then comes the dermis. Dermis is the part that is going to contain most of the parts of the skin. That is the nerve endings, the sweat glands, the sebaceous gland, and can you see the hair follicle? The thing out of which the hair comes out of our skin, and then the capillaries, which are going to supply our skin with blood. Right. So over here, what is this? These are the hair erector muscles. They are the ones when we are feeling cold, we tell no pulla rikkirathu melellam, right? That is because the hair erector muscles are pulling it, so that what happens? This one gets straightened. Okay. Then the nerve endings, you feel the touch, the pain, the pressure, everything you feel it through the nerve endings. The sweat glands, these tangled tubule like structure, that's the one that is going to release the sweat out, right? And then the sebaceous gland, that is going to create some oily, it's a glandular structure, right? That's going to secrete some oils, right, onto the skin, right? That's again a protective measure. All right. So you must be able to tell these parts very clearly. Okay. And I think that's it. And then you have some tips to keep a healthy skin. Okay. So that's it with this lesson. So let's go to the questions now. Okay. We have one question on the kidneys. Okay. We'll try this question. Can all of you all see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. පුතා අපි මේකට යන්. Try this question, පුතා. Question number 3. Yeah, 3A. Try it. I'm going to give you maybe 5 to 6 minutes. You have to try only 3A. All right. Time up. Sarah, did you write the answers?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm writing the fourth one.
Fourth one. Okay. All right. We'll see. Um, what about Alia and Krishev? Did you all give a try?
Yes, teacher.
All right. Okay. Okay. What did you all write for the first one, Puta? What do you think the answer is? Name the area shown as A, which consists of lots of blood capillaries. What do you think that is? Any idea? Yes?
Renal cortex.
Cortex, right? That should be the renal cortex. Good. So let's type that down. Any different answers? What did you write, Sarah?
Renal cortex.
Renal cortex. Okay, so you can write it as the cortex, renal cortex. Krishev, if I'm spelling your name, Krishev, right?
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
Yeah, what did you write for the excretory products released from the kidneys, Puta?
Renal cortex.
Okay, that's the first one. Second one, two excretory products released from kidneys.
Urea and uric acid.
Yeah, can tell that. Urea and uric acid. We can write these two. Okay.
I
Then
wrote urine and blood.
urine and
Blood.
okay, now blood is not an excretory product, right? If we are seeing blood in our urine, then it's not a healthy person. So when you tell urine, Puta, you're telling the when you tell urine itself, right? That is how these excretory products are released, right? So what does it contain? That is the question here. They're asking you, what does your urine contain? So you're supposed to tell not urine, you're supposed to tell urea and uric acid. Make sense? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Third one, Alia, what did you write? Write a reason that affect the kidney, effects for kidney stones.
Not drinking enough water.
Yeah, that could be one. Anything else that you all have a different answer? Taking
Intaking salty diets.
yeah, intaking salty diets regularly, and also not passing urine at proper time when the urge comes. Okay, that is also a problem. Right. Fourth one. What is the effect of the kidneys for using drugs for a long period of uh, for certain diseases? So if you're gonna take lots of medicine for a longer time, not lots of medicine, a particular medicine also, if you're going to drink it for a longer time, what kind is it? What kind of problem is it going to arise in the kidney?
It's giving kidney failure.
Yeah, renal failure could occur. It's not something that will definitely happen, but if the person has some kind of other problems, maybe he's diabetic and other certain issues also, then uh, this thing can become a problem, having lots of medicines, right? Because those also have an effect, right? All right, okay. So let's go for another question now. Okay, so this part is done. So I'm going to jump into the electricity, right? And then I'm going to talk about we'll be discussing certain questions in that because these two are the main parts that could come for your exams as far as ILMA students are concerned. Right, okay. So, what are we learning in this lesson? We are going to learn, I'm scrolling up again. So, in this lesson, Putha, if you see, I'll take my paint screen. You can see my paint screen, right? Okay, so when you talk about electricity, I'll make it very simple for y'all, right? Y'all have to learn various methods of connecting cells and bulbs, right? So the first part is you'll be learning methods of connecting bulbs slash cells. So what are the two methods, Putha? We are going to learn parallel. This is the basic of electricity. You must know these parallel and series form. If in case we are going to tell series of cells, one after the other. Remember this, okay? One after the other is series. But parallel means they are parallel to each other. It's parallel. This is what we call as parallel. Okay? Right? One below the other, not one after the other. It is one below the other. Okay? So the same thing applies to what, Putha? Cells as well. Instead of these, I can draw a cell also like this. Okay? But the way that I connect is important. Positive, negative. Positive, negative. They should all face the same side. Okay? Right. Then, series cell system and parallel cell system. Okay? Then you will be learning about a simple electric circuit. You will be learning in this lesson about a simple electric circuit. Where you will be learning if for the current to pass through, what should happen, Putha? Circuit. The system must be closed. The system must be closed. If the switch is open, the current won't pass through. Only if it is closed, the current will pass through. Okay, that is something for you to remember. So here you will be learning about a simple circuit, especially the torch circuit, right? I'll just write it like this. This is for your reference, right? For your brain to remember this large lesson, I'm trying to give you all a map, right? That is why I'm jotting these things down. Okay, right. Then you learned about current controlling components. Okay, current controlling components. This is also an important part. How do we control the current? You don't want the current to flow through every time in a particular way. Controlling. Controlling. You must be able to control it, Putha. If you want to slow it down, how do you slow it down? If you want to make it fast, again, how do you make it fast? So current controlling components, you can use a what? Switch. You can basically use a switch, right? And then Putha, once we get disconnected, please rejoin, okay? With the same link. And what what else did we learn? There's something called the tap key, the plug key, right? The tap key, the plug key. So keys will go under here. Then you have something called what? The main one, resistors. Resistors. They could be many types, right? Variable resistors, permanent resistors, variable resistors and permanent resistors. Switches, it could be either keys, tap keys or plug keys. Okay. Then comes the main part. where you are going to learn about household electric appliances, where you'll be learning about